Speaking about, good picks, bad picks, people coming and going and leaving and whatnot, Malakai Black is believed to be done with All Elite Wrestling. What? Fightful reported on Wednesday night that those they spoke with in AEW believed that Malakai Black is either done or will be finishing up. Dave Meltzer added on Wrestling Observer Radio that when he asked, he was neither given a denial or verification. Both Meltzer and Brian Alvarez said the rumor backstage was that the 39-year-old is done with the company. This news comes after Will Ospreay's promo following his win over Buddy Matthews that opened Wednesday's Dynamite, where he said Matthews and Brody King don't need a leader. Black, Matthews, and King have been in the faction known as the House of Black since February 2022. In a promo shared on X, the Everything app, afterwards, Matthews said those words from Ospreay didn't fall on deaf ears. Black was in the news on Monday as he will work an indie match this weekend. Fightful previously reported that Black's contract had option years after 2024, with Tony Khan previously stating that Black was under contract under 2027. He signed with AEW in July 2021 after being released by WWE. If Black is done, it ends an at times tumultuous run in the company. After taking some time off to recalibrate his life, Black said in September 2022 that he requested a release, but when the report came out that he gained a highly conditional release, he denied it, saying he would be back soon. It's unclear what happened on both sides during this time. Let's go back in time to hear about the highly conditional AEW release. Their reporting has numerous talent telling Fightful Select in this situation that they have been told he has either received his highly conditional release or is done for the foreseeable future. I feel like this is a gimmick at this point, right? It is unknown what those conditions are. They speculated that they could restrict Black from wrestling elsewhere, including indies, as he has withdrawn from an Ohio indie show this week. Speculation increased as to his status following Sunday's All Out, when, off-screen, Black blew kisses to the fans and bowed after House of Black fell in defeat to Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro. Black took the pin after Sting gained a measure of revenge by misting him in the eyes. The outlet reported last week that Black's request for a release back in August was denied. They noted that Tony Khan wanted to keep Black, but a decision was made to honor his request following a recent meeting. So, back then he probably was like, hey, I'm done here. I want to hit the bricks. I want to go do something else. And AEW was like, hang on here, son. Wait a minute. You can go do stuff, but you can't go work for WWE. He's like, but that's what I want to do. Gosh darn it. Placated, foiled again. Again, this is something I talk about a little on the AEW Dynamite review that I posted earlier today that you should go check out. But once we're done here, I'm a little, ambivalent, I guess is the word. I think people obsessed too much over Malakai Black and his contract status and what he's doing in AEW and all that. I think people made it so much more interesting than what it actually was. I really couldn't care less. At this point, it's like, I've always been a proponent of, especially since AEW has been around, that wrestlers should be able to bounce between territories, go to one place and another, and just continue doing their career elsewhere. This is just like in the territories. That's what guys would do, right? They'd come in, they'd wrestle. Maybe they'd make it to the top to challenge they challenge the champion, and the champion would defeat them, and then they'd middle around on the mid card, and then they'd be like, well, my time here is done, and then move on to another territory and do it all over again, right? And there's no point in stagnation on a roster. There's no point in just keeping talent just for the sake of it. we've criticized WWE for years about hoarding talent, and not allowing people to go and do stuff. So just let him go. He just let him go. And the thing is that I also understand in Tony Khan's perception, and in everyone's perception, actually, it should be the default perception, that I understand that AEW and WWE are currently in a talent war, and releasing talent releasing talent or letting them go before their contract expiration or whatever is not necessarily a good idea. And I can understand, the logistics behind it. I can understand the perceptions behind it, because wrestling fans in 2025, being what they are, they're going to go screaming to the clouds like, oh, what a big L for AEW. And it's like, and this, where it's not in the case of Malakai Black. Malakai Black leaving for WWE is not an L. Kenny Omega leaving for WWE in 2025 would be a tremendous L. Hangman Page, those are other wrestlers with other conversations, but not a mid-carder like Malakai Black. And then what do you expect Malakai Black to go do in WWE? Right? What are we expecting him to go do? Is he gonna, suddenly join the bloodline? Malakai Black? You know what they're gonna do with him. He's gonna end up in the speed tournament. It's like he's gonna have a couple of weeks where he's gonna be in featured matches on SmackDown or whatever, Raw on Netflix, and then poof, next thing you know, he's fighting Dragon Lee for the fucking speed title. What I'm trying to convey here is that I think wrestlers should be able to bounce around. I understand that. I understand why the big promotions are not as keen at letting wrestlers bounce around, because there's perception issues in regards to that. But ultimately things should be a lot more freer to bounce around, and just let the market handle things. Let the market and demand handle things. Ultimately, that's the thing. It's like, I get it. I understand, like I understand why AEW is hanging on to Phoenix's contract, and I understand why they're not putting him on TV. Does it suck? Yeah, it kind of does. It does. Not gonna lie. Ultimately, here's the thing. I think Malakai Black should go to a place where he's going to be happy. Clearly, he'll be happier in WWE. The report said that his contract status with AEW has always been tumultuous and has become much more of a bigger thing than what he actually does there. People started, and then everyone started examining the minutia of his matches. How much time is he in the ring? How much bumps is he taking? Oh, of course he's not getting pinned. Oh, of course he's pinning, so on and so forth. And, all that stuff. Oh, of course he's only wrestling former WWE guys and all that stuff, right? It's just an incessant barrage, which I think makes everything much more heavy-handed and uninteresting. And we should be able to just move on from this. I wasn't expecting him to be kind of like a prima donna. But look, I think he was one of a couple of former WWE guys who came to AEW and thought that they were going to be, treated as if their shit didn't stink, and were going to be positioned as tippy top guys. And when they came to the realization that, oh, well, maybe y'all are going to be just like some really solid mid-carders, they started to throw their weight around. They started complaining. They started not showing up for work. They started, having stuff happen so that they had to retreat to Bulgaria to deal with it. There's been a couple of those. There's been a couple of those in AEW. So, but like I said, also in the Dynamite review, I kind of figure that I kind of figured that Malakai look, if the Codyverse had still been around, I think Malakai would have had a much better time in AEW. I think it would have been much better because remember, right? He started feuding with Cody and that was off to a blast, a super hot start, right? I don't know if you recall this. Then Cody disappears, things start falling apart. You don't see Malakai as much on TV. And when he does, he's not doing much and so on and so forth. Reports start leaking. Might have been an entirely different story if Cody Rhodes had stuck around. Look, this is what I hope. And this is my legitimate hope. I hope that this is for real this time. I hope that Malakai Black is leaving AEW for real this time. And not because I think he's a bad talent. I am a guy I own an Aleister Black t-shirt. I've always had a soft spot for Tommy and Aleister Black, Malakai Black. I've always had, even when he was doing weirdo, spooky shit in WWE, right? I always had a soft spot for him. All I really want for Malakai Black is to be in an environment where he is going to feel good, is going to thrive, and that the focus can be on him as opposed to his antics or whatever's happening and who is he getting pinned by and who is he not pinning and, all this heavy-handed minutia and then these reports arriving and then this clogging up the discourse with just a shit ton of nonsense. That is what I'm hoping for him moving forward. And if he has to leave, that's fine. But Jesus Christ, I hope it's for real this time. Again, not because I don't like the guy. I just want all of this Malakai Black drama to just disappear. And if he goes to the Fed and it disappears, mission accomplished. We won.